Hi, Vicky, should we get started?
Yes, I think we can get started.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see some familiar faces and some new names, at least that I might not recognize. My name is Ana Villavicencio. I am the Education USA Regional Manager, also known as REAC, for South America, the Andean region. It's my pleasure to talk to you today a little bit about the landscape in Colombia. I am here with several Education USA advisors from Colombia. So if you're able to turn on your video and wave those that are there, that would be great. I'm not going to ask you to introduce yourselves as we are only have about an hour to chat with you, and we want to make sure that we convey a lot of information and also have a chance to hear from you. And also, I want to acknowledge my colleague at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Diana Patiño, who's also with us today, and she will also help us answer any specific questions if needed. So, for those that might not be as familiar with Education USA, I want to make sure that you understand what my role is and what the role of a REAC is worldwide. We're 11 REACs around the world, and we cover different subregions. And we're here to help you understand the different opportunities and challenges that you might face in different parts of the world and connect you with our local stakeholders when needed and just guide you in your recruitment needs and plans. And so this is one of the services that Education USA offers for higher education institutions. We have several other activities that are happening or tools for you to help you in your recruitment. I just want to make sure some of you have already registered for this specific STEM tour, and you might have also registered for other of our Education USA fairs. I want to make sure that you're aware that we have a fair platform where you can see all the different fairs that are happening around the world. So if by any chance this Colombia tour doesn't fit right now in your schedule, there's so many other activities that are happening in the world with Education USA, and I highly encourage you to join us. We do also a lot of virtual activities. So if your budget is very tight to conquer the whole world, talk to me about how you can connect with Education USA and students in different parts of the world through our Education USA services. So in Colombia specifically, we have a nice representation for Education USA. We have 12 centers around the country with 10 advisors that cover the different centers. Some centers don't have advisors right now, but we do have 10 advisors spread throughout Colombia. So this is a great opportunity for us to promote U.S. higher education all over the country. The STEM tour that, we're talking right now about Colombia, because we're having this STEM tour happening next month, this will be the ninth year that we are organizing this tour. So we've done this several years, and we've done this very successfully. And the main purpose of this tour is to show you the benefits of recruiting outside Bogota. However, of course, one of the stops is Bogota because you can't have a visit to Colombia without stopping in Bogota. But we want to make sure that you're aware that there's so many good opportunities to visit other cities in Colombia, either with this STEM tour or if you're coming on your own. Do make sure to book a little bit more time in Colombia to visit other cities because there's definitely great recruitment opportunities. So in general, talking about the current recruitment landscape in Colombia. So there's still strong interest in studying in the US in Colombia. Though of course the numbers, the open doors numbers that came out in November do show uh, might not be as complete relevant because of the current higher education landscape that we are living in. it does give you an idea of the interest. You have Colombia being in the number 18 country that are sending students to the US. So that's very impressive with over 10,000 students. And there's quite a bit of a balance of the type of students that are interested in the US. You have a strong undergraduate population, strong graduate population. Interestingly, in this past Open Doors numbers, we did see a healthy increase in undergraduate students and a little bit of a decrease in graduate students. It's still very balanced, but we are seeing, forecasting perhaps bigger numbers of undergraduate, and I'm going to explain to you why that is. Um, so there is a lot of interest. Reason for this is as historically, Colombians that are thinking of studying abroad are just organically thinking about the US because of the very strong ties that the US has, the Colombia US relations, and also, of course, for the quality of higher education in the US. So, those are the main reasons why there's still a very big interest in that. Um, However, some of the positive things about Colombia that you should be aware of is that Colombia has a very high quality education at universities for undergrad and also at high school levels, especially compared to other countries in the Andean region. So normally the Colombian student has a very strong academic profile for admission. Levels of English, although we're still struggling to improve English in the country, nationally it has been a priority for the government. And also, we're seeing gradually the profile of the student with the stronger English levels. I should also mention that a lot of our Education USA centers are actually located within institutions that teach English and very renowned institutions that teach English locally. So that also gives us a population right there of students that do have that qualification. As I mentioned, there is very strong economic ties between the two countries, and I think economically there's a lot of potential there for growth and high connectivity between the US. And so students that do study in the US are able to connect in those markets as well. And also in the higher education world, and Diana is our expert in this, there's a lot of interest between Colombian universities to build relations with US universities. So even if you are not covering those type of relations for your institution, you should be aware that there is this great potential for increasing relations at an institutional level. We do see some challenges, of course, right now that you should be aware of. And of course, one of them that you might have seen in the news is that Colombia is right now going through an election process. And election processes in the region in general tend to create a little bit of a political tension, right? And so this environment is a challenge because there's a lot of uncertainty in the country. There's a lot of pause in developing new things. So even the government itself is not right now thinking of new projects, new plans. Everything is stalled because there's elections coming up. Now there is a positive aspect of this political tension and a little bit of instability because we don't know if it's going to be the same party or a different party that is going to win. Is that this growth in undergraduate mobility might be tied to this. So parents are thinking of investing a little bit more in their kids' education to send them abroad where they feel that there's a little bit more stability in that sense, forecasting in the next 4 years for their students. For their kids. And so that might be an opportunity, but it's as well a challenge. Then, of course, you probably have seen in the news that there's some bilateral political tension between the US and Colombia. And I want to emphasize here political tensions because the economic relations that the two countries have continue to grow very strong. And these tensions, again, they can be fueled because we are in an election year in Colombia and they fluctuate. So, 1 week you see some very surprising comments from either presidents, and the next week things might be better, right? So this is a little bit of that world that we're living in, and it really is impacting our work because, of course, the news tend to be very negative, very, these news sell. And Colombian students are seeing this, Colombian parents are seeing this. And so, of course, we need to make sure that they understand that the US is still a great place to study your university studies, and that it's still a very viable option, regardless of these political conversations that are happening, right? So this is one of the challenges that we're facing in Colombia. And then finally, financially, students in Colombia, it's becoming a lot more expensive, and studying in the US has become a lot more expensive as well. So budget-wise, some students might be thinking of like cheaper options of where I can study abroad. And this idea that the US is too expensive, it continues to be there. So we need to really explain how you can finance your studies. It's not that Colombians cannot afford to study abroad. It's just this idea that the US is a lot more expensive compared to, especially for graduate students, compared to a one-year master's degree in Europe, right? And so that is the main competition for you when we're talking about graduate students. And that is also why we're seeing like a more um, sort of flat number of graduate students in the US. So if you're visiting Colombia, either with our tour or on your own, um, be aware that it is an election year. So again, there's that tension, political tension. There might be some protests here or there. It is a normal situation for Colombia, for the region. Normally, when there are elections, you do have to navigate this type of situations. You should be aware that Education USA works extremely closely with the US Embassy, and we monitor all the time how the situation is happening. So, for example, for the STEM tour, we are day by day making sure that it's still completely safe and it's still completely fine for us to have our program, to have our project, and we move on that way. And we communicate if there's something that you should definitely be mindful of. But a lot of the things as well tend to be sort of like inflated in the news as well. So my suggestion for you is, if you see in international news something related to Colombia, I'm not saying that it's not true, but I'm saying talk to us so that we can give you the complete context of what is going on locally. And we are going to give you the complete picture because, of course, we want to make sure that your safety and your experiences are the best when you come to Colombia. As I mentioned, we've been doing this for 9 years. And we want to make sure that we continue to do this for many, many more years. So this is also how we decided what cities we're going to cover this year, and also the way that we're going to move around in Colombia as well. We're going to do more flights, for example, than we've normally done in the past. Again, just to make sure that you're 100% comfortable and that we're avoiding any sort of situation. So there's that type of analysis that we've been doing throughout this we've been planning. You will always have somebody with Education USA with you during the STEM tour as well. So there will be somebody local there to help you navigate things. If you're not coming through the STEM tour, you're coming on your own, I would highly recommend that you talk to Education USA as well, so that we can give you a little pre-departure orientation on what's going on, visit our centers as well, to make sure that we know that you're here and we can help you the best way that we can. So that is it from me. That's a lot of information that I'm sharing there with you. The bottom line is communicate with us. Let us know what your concerns are. If you see something in the news, talk to us. We'll just give you the context that we're aware of, and make sure that we will be communicating with you if there's something that you should be aware of regarding Colombia. Okay? With that, I am going to pass the microphone to Samuel. We're going to talk more technical about student profiles. He's a little bit more professional than I am. I didn't have a presentation, but Samuel, you can always count on Samuel for great information. We will be happy to answer any questions that you may have, either in the chat or at the end of the presentation. We'll open it up for questions.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you everyone for being here. I'm really glad I can give you an overview of Colombia and the students that we have. And I'm gonna also jump into a few numbers and figures of what Anna actually mentioned. So we have 10,213 students at this point. This is based on the last Open Doors report. And as you could also notice over there, that says Colombia ranks 18th. Um, uh, Colombia has always been an academic destination sorry, the States has been always an academic destination for Colombians. It's one of the countries that attracts a lot of students. Number one, for proximity reasons. Number two, because the systems, Colombian system, educational system, and the USA educational system are very similar. So programs are pretty much the same length, and the levels of education work kind of the same way at the undergraduate graduate level, and also because, as Anna mentioned, the relationship between the two countries has always been strong. At this point, also you need to know that there's a huge interest in Colombian students among Colombian students for STEM-related programs. According to the reports from the Colombian Ministry of Education, we have more than 1,600,000 students either finishing or enrolled in STEM programs. Next. This is just, I'm not going to go deep into this, but this is the little graph shows you how the numbers have grown throughout the history. We started with 7,976 in 2017, and at this point we have 10,213 students. That shows how much students really appreciate or cherish the US as an academic destination. And also here, where it says international students by academic level. As you could see, the number of undergraduate and graduate students is very close to each other. Like we have 3,000 and some students in the undergraduate level and the graduate level, because there's always a question, what if I go to Colombia, will I only get students interested in undergraduate studies? Not necessarily. You will also get a lot of students interested in a master's degree and PhD programs. That's to show you potential for recruitment, and you're going to be able to sort of talk to all kinds of students when you come, not only to Bogota. At some point, I'm going to talk about other cities because that's something that we want to highlight. My partners here, they are in different cities, in Cali, Pereira, Armenia, Medellin, Barranquilla, and they will be able to offer the same services we can offer you here in Bogota. They can talk to you about schools they can find in their cities. They can talk to you about stakeholders. They can talk to you about the best way to approach and recruit students. And we are always willing to give you all the information. That's our job, to help you really navigate the process, because every single country is different. So our job is to really help you. And if we cannot do that for whatever reason, we always escalate questions to Anna, who's going to be able to support you too. Okay, next. As you could see here, higher education, we have 919 universities, which out of which we have 93 accredited ones. You might hear about SENA, which is an institution, is a renowned institution here in Colombia that provides job training to students finishing high school. So those students who might not have the resources to go into university, they have this SENA, which is a way to prepare students for the workforce. Usually, and I actually mentioned this, if there's anybody here who's coming from a community college, or in general, everyone should know about this. It's a bit similar, but it's not the same. So just be careful about that, because students or parents tend to compare SENA with community colleges. Community colleges have an academic side. SENA is the workforce, mechanics or hotel management or cooking or things like those that prepare students for the workforce. Community colleges have that side, but they also have the academic side. So just for you to know. At this point, we have 2.1 million undergraduate enrollments and 4,500 graduate students enrolled. Now, there are, I'm going to be able to answer your questions at the end, okay? Colombian students, being Colombian myself and having studied here my undergraduate, I can tell you that programs are very academic. Students in general are very, very strong academically talking. Even though the birth rate in pretty much all the world has gone down, Colombia has one of the largest university age populations in Latin America. Our universities are well known. As I can mention Uninorte, I can mention Andes University, National University. Those are universities that are known worldwide. And I also mention universities because when you come, a lot of universities are interested in understanding how you can collaborate together. That's one of the main pieces of advice that I can give you, that always come to not only recruit students, but also give possibilities to universities to really connect with them and see what are those research collaborations that you could have. And if you don't have that information, or if you want to always connect those representatives from Colombian universities with your university, that's something that they're really interested in. Once again, there is a high interest and participation in STEM, business, social sciences, and health fields. And students in Colombia, believe me, are accustomed to having a very competitive curriculum. They like to be rigorous when it comes to studying in general. And they are also accustomed to really strong academic workloads. Next, please. Colombia per se, in general, has a good English level. I'm going to be honest to you. This process started almost 15 years ago, and there have been some challenges and some developments, but in general, there is a national priority to make English a priority in order for students to become bilingual. And I mentioned a few cities that are that belong to the urban zones of the country, like Cali, Manizales, Medellin, Barranquilla, and Bogota. Those are cities that are working really strong to have students reach a level that allow them to communicate in English and to become at least B1, B2 levels. Thanks. There is a very, very, I would say, strong tendency or trend for schools to become bilingual or to become to be part of the IB. A lot of the students that you're going to find when you come to Colombia are exposed to international coursework. Something that we do in these university fairs, all the university fairs include visits to schools, and we choose them strategically so you could actually have contact with students who don't only speak the language, but they can also have a very international perspective about their studies. These are students that are really looking for opportunities overseas. And usually most of these schools, especially the IB schools, are schools where students have the resources, the financial resources to afford programs overseas. Next. As for graduate students, I'm going to focus a little bit on graduate students. Students finish the programs here in Colombia. Most of the cases are designed to give students a really good background in research. That's why you're going to find strong candidates that are specifically competitive when it comes to research. in engineering, applied linguistics, sustainability studies, and as in the rest of the world, there is a huge interest in data analysis and nanotechnology or any other field that is related to computers, to science. And I think that the trend is more and more obvious these days. The students that you're going to find here are those students who have the background and the profile for a PhD pipeline and to become research assistants. I can tell you, for example, that we have a program called Opportunity Funds, and we choose really good, excellent profiles of students that want to do master's degree and PhD programs. Opportunity Funds is a program. It's kind of the program that is given to students, or the opportunities that are given to students is the flagship program from Education USA. It gives all the resources for students to apply to universities, take the exams, send documents, prepare for the English test. And at the end of the day, if they get accepted to US universities, they'll get the money for their ticket and the visa process. So that's also a program that you should be aware of. Next. And I mentioned it. And I chose 3 cities just randomly, but also because they are part of the STEM tour. But I could choose any other city. We are also advising you to target cities that are not only Bogota. We welcome you, of course. And then actually, Bogota's airport it's one of the most popular ones because it's a strategic place. So you will most likely come to Bogota, but we have excellent students everywhere. I mentioned Cali. We're going to be going to Cali for the STEM tour. Cali is one of the it has one of the strong public universities, and it's located in the southwestern of Colombia. And it's an academic hub for a lot of students who want to do their studies in that area. A lot of interest in health sciences, engineering, and social sciences and education. Manizales is the second city that you guys are going to be visiting if you decide to come for the STEM tour, or if you guys decide to come simply by yourselves. Remember, you could always contact Vicky or Anna or myself or any of us in order to get some advice to make your visits as productive and as smart as possible. Manizales is called the Ciudad Universitaria, or the University City. It's a small city, but it's very popular because it has some of the strongest universities in the area, and it's located in what we call the coffee region. So a lot of students go to Manizales to do their studies from Armenia or from Pereira, and it's a beautiful city. It's one of my favorite ones. Students usually come from academically selective programs, and they go to Manizales. Actually, Manizales has become a very representative academic city, those ones who just don't want to come to Bogota. And Bogota is the last but not least city that you might be visiting if you become part of this STEM tour. It's the capital city. It's the largest concentration of universities. We have between 35 and 40% total of higher education involvement, public and private. And as well as in other cities, we have some strong universities in engineering, economics, and some of the strongest universities and most renowned cities universities are here in, like this university, the ones I mentioned before. As Anna mentioned before, Vicky and the team, they have been working really hard to just make these visits to these 3 different cities as comfortable and safe and convenient as possible. Okay, next one. So I will leave you with Vicky and any questions that you might have. I haven't been able to look at the chat, but we'll be answering. But in the meantime, Vicky is going to give you a piece of information.
Yes, thank you, Sam. Well, before we move forward to the questions, just a last invitation for you to join us in our channels. We have our site, our Google site, so you can read the QR code, or I can send you also the link. Also, you can follow us on LinkedIn or at our contact information, WhatsApp contact information. And I have been sending you all the information regarding the STEM tour through this email, Colombia Tour. But in case you have any question or you would like to discuss any additional detail of the fair and you would like to join us, you can reach out and we can give you all the information. I know here some of you are already registered for the tour, but in case you're not yet, but you would like to visit us, just let us know and we will help you with everything that you may need. So that's it. I think that now we have the time to discuss any question that you may have, in case you want to open your mic or send a message through the chat. No, also clear?
Don't be shy. Any questions related to Colombia? It doesn't matter if you're coming to the tour or you're thinking about going, or will you be targeting working professionals? So in general, and we do for the tours, we do a large promotion through our social media, and the U.S. Embassy also help us promote. So it's a wide variety of students that you will encounter. A lot of graduate students in Colombia are already young professionals, so that's one thing that you should be aware of. In general, that's like that in Latin America. We are not specifically targeting companies, but we are doing a very, very large promotion. Who would I reach out to if I wanted to collaborate with Education USA Colombia to do a virtual session or webinar? I'm going to put her on the spot if she's here. I don't see her. Laura?
Hello, everyone. I'm here.
Sorry to put her on the spot. I mean, all the advisors can do, we do some webinars, but honestly, it's hard to get students' attention even for like webinars these days, like short attention spans. So we do quite a bit of social media content and interaction. So I don't know if Laura, you want to mention what works for Colombia?
Yes, of course. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Anna. Put me in the spot. Well, the first contact with us is through email. At the time on 2026, we are looking for having different formats for social media. We are going to start having webinars, of course. This is like our main virtual event with the universities in the US. So first, if you want a webinar, you should email us with your interest. I can give you my email through the chat, so you can send me the information.
Thank you.
And also we are working together with Victoria and also with Rita, and we are looking for other activities such as having a direct from. This is a short video from you or from a student in the US that you want to put in the spot. This is a reel that you can share with us, maybe talking about a different topic that you want to share with us, like financial aid, or maybe a success story that you have about a Colombian student in the university that you want to share with us. And we are going to, of course, publish it in our social media. And also we have these open mics, or if you are going to come here to Bogota or Cali, Barranquilla, Medellin, or any other city, you can have an open mic. This is of course, on-site format. We are going to record a podcast that is going to be like a podcast, but with video. We are going to publish it in YouTube, and also we are going to put a short reel about some highlights from that podcast in Instagram, so the people can connect with that short content and then go to YouTube to look all the whole video. So this is like different activities that we can make together. So please email me and we can arrange a short meeting and we can talk to you about this. So you can also ask some questions to us about these different type of activities that we have here in Colombia.
Thank you, Laura. So you see, we innovate all the time, especially Colombia does this really well. I see some questions here that I wanted to hear, read it out loud so that everybody can hear. So one is there an interest for short-term certifications, 9 to 6 months or 12 months professional training programs? I don't know if one of the advisors want to answer that question. Have you seen interest in this type of programs?
Yes, nobody else. Well, yeah, yes, yes. There's interest in general. They always ask about that because there are professionals that want to sort of become a little bit more professional in certain areas, or their English level, or for whatever reason, they really ask about that. Here in Colombia, we call them diplomados. So they are like, oh, are there diplomados? But yeah, there is interest. Out of the advising sessions we have, like in Bogota, particularly, we have between 60 and 70 advising sessions a month. And then sometimes they ask questions like that. I want a course. I don't want to just go for a year. I have to ask for permission. I want to take a course. Can I do that? Yes, there is interest. And something that I forgot, Anna, to mention is like students are going to be asked you about the OPT. There is interest about the OPT. That's something that might come up as a question because they want to hear more from us, or they usually ask us about that type of way to work after graduation.
Thank you, Samuel. Here's another question that I wanted to make sure we bring it up, and it's from Joshua. He says, he's curious, does ICETEX and Colfuturo still operate? And if so, do the institutions have a strong social impact? So the first part of the question, I want to make sure that the rest of you guys are familiar with these two institutions. ICETEX, for our purpose of international or Colombian studying abroad, and in general, ICETEX manages some of the multilateral and bilateral scholarships that might exist between countries, not specifically Fulbright, that's a different story, but also offers loans for studying mainly in Colombia and to a certain degree graduate studies in the US, right? However, right now, ICETEX, as I mentioned, because of the political or the elections, ICETEX is sort of on a standby at this point, but the entity continues to exist. And Colfuturo is an NGO that focuses on loan scholarship opportunities for graduate studies abroad. And it's a very common way of funding your graduate studies abroad. It's not a full package financial support. It usually helps if the student has some sort of partial scholarship or is able to finance the rest, but it gives a very substantial financial support to students. And then the student it begins as a loan, and then the student can then turn it into a scholarship depending on certain parameters, like I'm coming back to Colombia and working for the public sector. So then the NGO recognizes that. It still exists. However, the number of loan scholarships available might decrease for this 2026, in part because of the current government's priorities. So Colfuturo used to receive a lot of government funding to be able to operate. And right now this funding is not concrete for 2026. It continues on, Colfuturo, but mainly with other sources of funding, which has also impacted the number of scholarships and loans, but it continues to exist and is a very, very interesting institution. We actually have an Education USA Center at this institution. So if you visit Bogota, I would recommend you stop by Colfuturo. Any other questions that you see? Will the tour include only 3 cities mentioned? Yeah, so when we first started the tour, we used to include 5. But then we realized that spending 2 weeks in Colombia, it's quite a bit of a commitment for you guys, especially funding wise. It's too much to ask for your budget to be in Colombia all this time. So last year, I think it was the first year, we did 3 cities, and we thought it would work really well because it allows us to fit everything within 1 week. And as mentioned, you have Manizales and Cali as the other stops, and we include Bogota. So Manizales, the coffee region, and Cali is if I'm not mistaken, Brita, the third largest city in Colombia, right? Is it? Yeah, after Medellin.
And I forgot to mention that we will be visiting Manizales, but before we go to Manizales, we will have a short stop in Pereira.
Pereira.
Very close, and there we will have a networking session with universities from Pereira, also with high school counselors. So yes, we do have another additional, but it's included in the tour.
Short stop in Pereira, and it's actually you're going to be flying in and out of Pereira. It's a very close by city, as I think Samuel mentioned. These students tend to move around these 3 cities, Pereira, Armenia, and Manizales. We have centers in these 3 cities. And so we're stopping in Pereira because you arrive there. So we take advantage of that. And then we're going to focus on Manizales. FYI, there is an airport in Manizales, but we are not recommending you fly there because Manizales tends to get overcast quite quickly. And the airport tends to delay flights or cancel flights quite often. So that's the reason behind Pereira. It's not very far. It's, a normal distance airport to where you're going in Manizales, but it's just safer for our purposes of not wasting time with delays. Any other questions? So to double check, you would recommend flying to Pereira instead? Yes, Joshua. If you're visiting Manizales, either with a tour or on your own, you should visit Manizales. It's better to fly to Pereira. I remember once we had a meeting with all the advisors in Manizales long time ago, and I was the only lucky one that arrived with no problems. So the rest were delayed and whatnot because it's a small airport and it tends to close due to bad weather.
Joshua, if you're traveling with the group, we sent you the primary information package, and there you can find the suggested flights. So you would be with us all the time. And we have a bus in Pereira waiting for us to take us to the Finca, which is where we're going to have the networking session, Finca del Café.
Okay, and Margaret has a very interesting question. So could you share a typical annual family budget for US study? What is realistic and what is competitive? So this varies quite a bit. You do obviously have in Colombia very wealthy, very, very, very wealthy families. And these type of families are the ones that are looking to study abroad, right? Of course, it's a small segment of society. And these type of students normally tend to go to the highly ranked, super popular universities. However, there's still room, obviously, there for recruitment. What's interesting is that you do have a nice middle class. And in here, I would stay away from telling you like a range. Maybe Samuel is better at this, but in general, for an undergraduate, there is no scholarships available in Colombia. The parents are the ones that are making a big investment. And as I mentioned, they will make that big investment. It is very common in Latin America. The majority of undergraduate students are self-paid. It does help if you do have some sort of financial aid. It doesn't have to be a full financial aid, but some sort, especially obviously to lower the costs. But also, I have to say, we are a society of thinking of scholarships as great merit. And so this idea of my kid deserves this merit and brag about how my kid was able to get this scholarship at this US institution. So that helps. So I don't know if any of the advisors would want to give a range, but it varies quite a bit. It does help if you do offer some financial aid, especially if you're those institution where the sticker price is more towards the 60, 80,000. Definitely some sort of partial financial aid would help doing. There's obviously loans that parents can take, private loans. For graduate studies, there's Colfuturo, there's Fulbright. There's also loans available, hopefully with ICETEX in the future. But again, the more that you can try to figure out a way of financing, some partial scholarship, some partial financial aid, that would help. At the graduate level, these students tend to fluctuate for other destinations, especially Europe with their one-year master's degree. Even if living in Europe, even if living in Paris is like so much more expensive than living in other cities in the US, not New York City, they still think that it's cheaper studying in Europe. So you need to make sure to explain the benefits and how to budget as well. Not only like this is the cost, this is the I-20 cost, but like, what are the benefits of going to your institution? Is it in like a cheaper state or city? Are there ways that they can live off campus? This type of conversations can really help the family understand that there is some flexibility on financing. Anybody else from the advisors? And then I didn't understand your other question. I forgot about the social impact of ICETEX and Colfuturo. I'm not sure I understand what you mean with social impact. They are very well known in the country, obviously, as mechanism for funding higher education. One is public and one is nonprofit whatsoever. Um, um, will the tour include only 3 cities? We did that. Any other questions?
Joshua is raising his hand.
Oh, Joshua. Yeah, sorry.
Hi, thank you so much for your time, Miss Anna. I'm really appreciative for all the information. What I meant by that question was if they were very known or if they were actually used. So you kind of did answer what I was asking. Thank you so much.
Col Futuro is so well established and known that it has actually been copied in other Latin American countries, and it continues to be copied. It's a very, very interesting mechanism and very sustainable mechanism for supporting students. And they do have another program that helps, improve the profile of a Colombian student that might be from low income or like smaller cities, and try to help them improve their profile so that they can eventually obtain admission at a university abroad.
Yeah, and I just wanted to mention something that even though the dollar to a peso is a huge difference, and that's why education in the US is becoming really expensive for us. For the last 5 months, the dollar has gone down a little bit, and that has also made families look into the US again. We don't know. I mean, this is today. What happens tomorrow, we don't know, because the dollar fluctuates a lot, and then we don't know what's going to be the story tomorrow. But so far, yes, the price of the dollar is the same one as 5 years ago. So that sort of puts parents in alert, like, oh, this is getting a little bit easier for just a little bit.
Any final questions? Maybe not. Okay, well, just to close it, Vicky, do you have any other information? No. I just want to make sure to tell you, what is the F1 visa approval rate? I don't know statistics per se right now of approval ratings, but normally F1 visas get approved without an issue. F1 visas are a priority for appointments as well. There is quite a high volume of B1, B2 appointments, so that tends to take a lot longer times for your visa interview. But for F1s, we hear anecdotal stories stories of maybe he was denied or whatnot, but in general, students get their visas and they get their visas on time. So we're lucky, especially with the volume of visas being processed in Colombia. Still, it makes sense that if you have students, tell them to get their appointments if they have everything in order and they have their I-20 to get their appointments sooner rather than later because the summer times are very busy. I need to travel with my baby and a babysitter. Can they join me on the transportation as well? Should we make other arrangements? Oh, we're gonna have a baby. So nice. I think we can arrange for them to be with us in the transportation. Don't worry, Angela. We look forward to have the youngest recruiter at our fair. Okay, since we have a little bit of time and I want to make sure that you know the team, if you guys can just turn your microphone and say your name and what city you're from, the advisors. Starting with Brita.
First.
Oh, you go first, Marta.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I was going to say because of the alphabetical order.
Okay.
All right. Okay, I am Marta Roman. I am based in Armenia, one of the cities from Eje Cafetera. So I will be joining you as well in the STEM tour. So looking forward to meeting you all. And also in the networking event that we're having on the 24th, we will probably have some university reps from local universities from Armenia also. So you could have the chance of meeting more people. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Martica.
Hello, my name is
go ahead, yeah.
My name is Brita Mosquera, based in Cali, the first stop. So I will be happy to have you here. We are going to have a networking lunch in the morning, a mini fair in one of the most important bilingual schools here in Cali, and in the afternoon, the fair open to the public. And after that, depending if you're not so tired, and that is out of the agenda, you could also go and have some salsa dance. And remember that Cali is la capital mundial de la salsa, okay? So it's open to you to give some energy to enjoy that moment. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Brita. I don't know alphabetically who's next, but anybody that wants
Okay, I can continue. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrea Davila. I am the Education USA advisor in Manizales, the second stop. So we are organizing everything very carefully so you have the best experience. The idea is that you have a networking breakfast with counselors, then a networking lunch with representatives from universities, and then the great STEM Tour Fair in Universidad de Caldas, one of the best universities here in Manizales. So we hope to see you all in the STEM Tour.
Great. Okay, I'm going to pick the next one then.
Hello,
Carlos.
everyone. I'm Carlos Orrego. I am stationed in Pereira, where I will be meeting most of the reps at the airport, and then we will go through, have a little bit of fun before you head to Manizales. But looking forward to see you all here, including the students, because we're going to have an activity with the students on the 24th as well. See you then.
Great. Thank you, Carlos. Tati.
Hi, everyone. I am Tatiana Fontalvo. I am based in Barranquilla. It's a city located in the Caribbean coast of the country, and I'll be more than happy to help whenever you need. Thank you.
Thanks, Tati. Sandra.
Hello, can you hear me? I've been trying
Yes.
to open my mic for a couple seconds there. Hi, how are you? My name is Sandra. I'm stationed in Medellin, Colombia. Hopefully, I'll get to meet you all very soon. And welcome to STEM Tour. It's going to be amazing. Promise. It's going to be, you're going to amazing cities and you're going to meet a lot of great people.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandra. You've met already Laura. I don't think you mentioned, Laura, that did you mention that you were based in Bogota?
No, I didn't mention it. Yes, hi, I'm based in Bogota. I work together with Samuel, that he's like next to me, and also Vicky, the first coordinator.
Great. And then not to put Diana on the spot, but she is part of our Bogota, Colombia team. Diana.
Hello, so I'm Diana Patiño. I'm the higher education specialist at the embassy here in Bogota, and I work closely with this amazing group of advisors. I'm very happy to have you all in this session, and hopefully I'll have the chance to meet you all when you come to the fair or in the future fairs if you join the next fairs. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all. If there are no last minute questions, we look forward to seeing you in Colombia, either at our tour or on your own visit or virtually. But please engage with Colombia. We need your help in spreading the word that Colombians should continue to choose the US versus any other study destination. And you are the best people to share that. Vicky.
Yes, just a friendly reminder for all who are attending the fair. I have been sending you many emails. Sorry about that, but it's just to make sure that we have all covered, all the logistics that we need for your participation. We have also requested a video of your institution, one of your video if you want to be in the video, or maybe a student, to showcase your institution. We're gonna use it to promote the fair. So please don't forget to send it. We're gonna share it through our social media. So it's a great opportunity to show that you will be joining us in Colombia. And also I have been sending you some forms or a request to join our WhatsApp group and all of that, just that this is like a friendly reminder of that to make sure that everything goes as smooth as possible. Thank you.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have a quick question. How do the fairs look like? I mean, can you explain a little bit?
So the fair itself, I don't know, like physically what they look like. We try to do them in a space that's big enough so that all of you have the same exposure to students. You get I don't know the size of the tables, but a normal sort of like table where you can sit at least 2 people in case you have an interpreter as well. We just leave it like that. We might have a white linen, but aside from that, you're welcome to put your, whatever, if you have your own things and that. And you have a coffee break that is offered as well, so that we make sure that you're fed and hydrated during the event. At the same time, we are doing some information sessions in other rooms so that students can go around and talk to you, but also can go into these information sessions and learn about why they should study in the US, what kind of STEM programs they might have, and so that we can continue to engage and give that message of, yes, come and we can answer all your questions about a US higher education. Education USA also has a booth as an information booth. So for example, if you do get questions that are very basic and that you are like, we don't want you to waste your time answering, for example, what is a GRE, what is an SAT, you can just send them to our booth so that we can help them learn a little bit more of those technical aspects in case that's something that you need. So that's the fair itself. It's a 3-hour fair. We make sure that the students are all registered, and then, through Eventbrite, we validate their registration. And so we give you that information at the end of the event with, their contact information so that you can follow up with those that attended, but also those that perhaps didn't attend but did register. I see Diana has her hand up.
Thank you, Anna. Yes, I wanted to add that apart from the general information of the fair, I don't know if you have seen probably the draft schedule, but in Colombia, we make sure that the embassy is always supporting the fair. So in this case, for example, an officer from the public diplomacy section is accompanied the fair at each city. They usually offer opening remarks, and they usually join the networking activities in each of the cities. So I think that's very important for the first, because in Colombia, at least, that makes a difference for institutions. They usually, if the embassy is attending and if the embassy is supporting, usually you have a higher attendance of representatives from institution and from the public in general.
Exactly. Thank you, Diana. Yeah, very important support, and that differentiate our events with other events that might be going on for recruitment. And also we call it fair, but as you've seen in the schedule, you visit schools, you visit universities. So the fair itself, it's only one activity of the activities that we plan. So we make sure to fit in as much as we can during your stay. I don't know if that answered your question or.
Yes.
I'm
Yes,
going to
it
share
does.
with all of you the recording of this webinar and also the information of the tour in case you're interested in joining us this year.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, Angela. Well, we hope to see you in Colombia. Angelica.
I am hoping that too. So that's why I asked that question, because I'm gonna show it to my boss.
Yeah. And if he comes up with more questions, feel free to reach out to us. I mean, we're happy to explain more of why why you should
And
come.
if I understand correctly, it's $2,450?
For the 3 cities. You can also choose to do 1 or 2 cities if that's the case. Of course, we want you to come to the 3 cities, but we know that it is quite an investment. So
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
sure. All right. I don't know if
That's it. Yes.